Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Unfortunately, this morning we found out that John Esposito, a native and a well-known name in Edgeworth, passed away this morning. He is the wife of Debbie Esposito, who's active and works, I believe, as a para, Salemwood, in the Salemwood school system. We want to remain standing for a moment of silence in his name. Oh, yes. You want to do it, Peg? Tom Roberts? Also, I should have started with this one. We also lost a firefighter, Tom Roberts, passed away suddenly. Was it Thursday of this week? Friday. At such a young age, so it's never good to see anybody pass away at such a young age, but certainly one of our firemen. So please remain standing in a moment of silence for firefighter Tom Roberts. Thank you. Clerk will call the roll. I don't know where Simo is. He called me, but he... Because he was going to invite somebody here, some kid got some award, and he was going to ask him if he could speak for 5 minutes. I said, we'll have the council vote on that. But, okay, so I don't have to worry about that? Okay. That's the only reason why I'm asking. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes. I know she's here.
Yep.
Condon.
All right.
Condon.
Condon's here.
Crow. Here. Linehan. Here. McDonald's here. Murphy. Here. O'Malley. Here. Sika. Here. Simonelli. Winslow. Winslow here. Spatafora.
Spatafora here. First order of business. Excuse me.
First order of business is historian and local author Inna Babitskaya will appear before the City Council to present her book, Time of Converse.
Thank you, Clerk Lucy. I know, Inna, please come to the podium. But before I have you introduce yourself, which I don't think you need an introduction, certainly to this body and the residents of Malden, very active with our Historical Society, I do want to have Council Linehan speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be brief. I just wanted to welcome Inna here. I think this is her third book. She's quite a local gem, and if anybody hasn't read any of her other books, particularly her work on Fellsmere Park, is well worth it. You know, this is a proud Ward 3 resident that I'm happy to introduce. Inna really has, brought her knowledge of the city into such an artful way of explaining sort of what is so special about the city. And from her perspective, I would encourage anybody, I think you can get the books at the library, is that correct? And if you have any questions, just to find her afterwards or find me and I can put you in touch with her. I'm really looking forward to hearing all about her new book, Time of Converse, which was published in September, right? Great, I'll give you the floor, Inna.
Yes, so in September, it actually was the continuing edition, we can say, because the first few books were published when the Converse family came to our city, and they received this, and I think they enjoy. Yeah, this way? Yeah. Now you hear me? This way?
Let me see.
Yeah. Not very often. So this is my book about the Converse family. And it's results of many years of research about this family. And probably some of you know, some of you not, that their ancestor was among the founders of our city. And so I begin this journey about the family who were not only pioneers, but who were very successful businessmen, self-made men in every generation, and they greatly influenced the history of the city, of the state, and even the country. So we begin our journey. This family is quite enigma. The first representative of the family, Diakon Edward Converse, came to America in 1630, and there was very little known about him. Not the exact date of birth, not exact information who were his parents, where he was born, who was his wife, and so on and so on. So he was an enigma. And here you see the king who actually brought a lot of people from Normandy, France, and including also ancestors of Converse family. Among the mystery which related to this family were their ancestors. So some of Converses thought that they came from the Norman noble family of Conyers. And you see the effigy of this man on the slide. And also the castle which was granted to them for their deeds. And I would like to say that in 19th century, many Americans tried to find noble traces in their family history. And Converses were not alone. So Elisha and James Converse's nephew, William Hill, wrote family records of Converse family. And it was he who actually wrote about the noble traits in the family genealogical history. But as it happened, even his contemporaries, members of the family, found that it's maybe not true. And in 21st century, when 9 members of Converse family made genetic tests, they found that they were actually Jewish. And it's a very interesting, step in the family history. And here you see the picture. So the first Jewish people came to England with William the Conqueror from his native Normandy. Actually, he invited them because they can help with money lending, with money clipping, with different kind of financial operations. And for centuries, he and his descendants supported Jewish people in England. But eventually, as it happened in history, so their situation became very precarious. And it happened during the reign of Edward I, the famous Hammer of Scots. It was one of his nicknames. So he ordered the expulsion of Jewish people from England in a few weeks. It was 1290. And from 3,000 to 16,000 Jewish people were expelled. But not everyone. So there were like 100 converts, how they were called. So Jewish people who accepted Christianity. And there were special house in London built during the reign of Edward's father, Henry III. And you see the picture, it was called Domus Conversorum. So people who live there, they have no own money, they can wage a little bit, they have to give all their belongings to the royalty. And among them were different people of different positions and professions. They were called les converses. And actually these les converses were the ancestors of the Converse family. Among them were king clerks, they were sergeant-in-arms, goldsmiths, horse dealers, tax collectors, and so on. And I would like to say, especially seeing our city clerk here, that royal clerk had a very high position. They actually could bring money for the royal army. They could support different king's decisions and provide support for his guests. So they were a very important people. So our city clerk maybe not so high, but I know that you do quite a lot. Another theory about Converse family was connected with yeomen. So many Converses in the end of 19th century thought that they actually originated from English yeomen. And here you see how they look like in the Middle Ages and who they were. Usually they were between gentry and laborers. And they can also have different kind of professions and positions like clerics, jurors, constables, wardens, overseers, and so on. And they were very well provided usually. They can own around 100 acres of free land. Also, some of Converses considers that they came from husbandmen. So, and actually Edward Converse, the first Converse in America, who came to America, was a husbandman and a miller. And we don't know about him practically, as I told, anything. But we can just guess who he was, how he lived, where he lived, and so on. Why? There was a beautiful book written by Gervase Markham, and it was called The English Husbandman. It was a very detailed book. He wrote about everything, how they look like, what they do, about their farms, what they have for the domestic animals, and so on and so on. Very interesting and very instructive book. And this can help to see how Edward Converse could live in England. As I told, there are a lot of discussions about his ancestors. So one researcher thought that he came from noble trade, noble family. Another thought that he came from yeoman lines, and there were also no agreement from what lines. So there are different fathers, mothers, and so on. So there's some information about this. I don't want to spend a lot of time. And there is also pictures of the places where the Converse family lived in England. So I only would like to say that Edward Converse, who came to New England, he married Sarah Parker and had 3 children before they came to America. This actually related to all Converses here in the United States. Because he was a husbandman and a miller, he could provide for his family when they planned their voyage to New England. Because I would like to say it was very expensive for this period of time. Not every person who would like to immigrate can afford this. So for many of them, it's require a year, maybe a few years of work just to have this money for the trip. And expenses were like £5 for a travel and £10 for goods. And actually, it was a huge amount of money at this period of time. And also, they have to buy a lot of food for 3 months of travel. And also, this food should be preferably to leave something for their first months on the land. A lot of various tools, equipment, clothes, whatever they can. So it was all very expensive. So that's why some people came here as servants. And it was a contract for 7 years. During this period of time, they have to work for their master. And afterwards, the owner can provide them new clothes and sometimes even land. And here you see there is ancient indenture contract, how it looked like when somebody would like to be a servant for the journey and for the life in colonies. I would like to say that the conditions for the new immigrants were very tough. You definitely know this. And fortunately for us, there were a few evidences which help to see how it's looked like. So among them, Captain Club memoirs, letters of Thomas Dudley, who was a governor of our colony, and many other memoirs. So you can see the houses, how they look like. Sometimes they called English wigwams. So it's not a very pleasant view outside and inside. Very few pieces of furniture, and they were cold. Some of the people live even in the land digs, and there were also shortage of food and a lot of diseases. So as you well know, many people died during the first years of the colonial life. Speaking about Edward Converse, Diakon Converse, he was already a very mature man, and he had necessary skills. And one of the first works of his in a new country was a ferryman. So he received grant from the city, from the general court. And here you can see his, conditions for this work. So he could work for £40 a year. It was a very good salary. And because it was very profitable occupation, sooner it was taken from him and given to Harvard College. So after he proved that it's very good enterprise. because he was very well respected in colonies, he was asked to survey the land near Charlestown, which was the center of colonial life in this period of time. And he and a few other people were sent for this exploration of the land, and they found eventually a city of Woburn. At this time, it was town of Woburn. And the first house in this city, in this town, was Edward Converse house, and also the first mill. And here you see the place of his house, the bridge, which was called after him, and his signature. Edward Converse died in 1663. He left a lot of land, and I would like to say that some of his land was in Malden. At this time, it was called Mystic Side, and then Malden. So he left a lot of heritage to his children. His youngest son, Samuel Converse, was born in America, the only one of his 4 children. And it was Samuel Converse who was ancestor of Elisha Converse, the first mayor of Malden, and his brother and his sisters. So he inherited a corn mill in Woburn from his father, and actually this heritage became the cause of his death. So one day when he was working on a mill, his coat was caught by a wheel of mill, and he received very severe wounds and died. And it was described in Malden historical records. His nephew and his nephew friend witnessed this and told the jury how it all happened. Only 2 children left from his marriage to his wife, and from one of them came all, Converse line to our first mayor. His son, also Samuel Converse Jr., moved to Connecticut, and there he settled with his family and became a new professional line. He became a tavern keeper. And here, a little bit information about taverns, because a few generations of Converses, including father of Elisha and James Converse, were tavern keepers. So it was a very profitable profession, and actually it was very interesting, a few interesting moments connected with this, because General Court of Massachusetts required each town and city to have a tavern in their vicinity. And they were even fined if they don't want to open such. And to say that in 1714, at the beginning of 18th century, there were around 1,000 people in Boston, and 34 taverns, or ordinaries, how they called. Among the tavern keepers were also women, mostly widowed women, and they were very also successful, so not surprisingly. So you can see how they look like, so the interior of tavern and exterior, I don't want to tell a lot because I have not too many. And I would like to add that a very famous American writer, James Fenimore Cooper, wrote an interesting observation about American taverns, and he compared them with British ones. And it actually, he underlined that American tavern keepers and American taverns were much more preferable. So you can read in this book, and it's actually interesting moments. Here comes a father of Elisha, James Converse. He was also called Elisha. He was married on Betsy Whitten Converse. And here you see the family. So James Converse, the eldest son, Elisha, the youngest, 2 sisters, and a few sisters, which I could not find, unfortunately, any picture, so just the names. He was also a tavern keeper and keeper of turnpikes, and he moved from one city to another, from Connecticut to Massachusetts, back and forth, and eventually he and his wife spent their last years in Stoneham in Massachusetts, close to their sons. Here comes the elder brother of Elisha Converse, James Whitten Converse, who actually was like father figure in some ways to Elisha in all his professional life. So James Converse began to work at 13 years old, and he also received a lot of help from his father brothers, Joseph and Benjamin Converse. So here you see Boston Market, where he actually had his business. And I would like to say it, he very fast, prospered from the, simple owner of small shoes store to a very successful businessman. And he have a few businesses in Boston. They became very successful. One of his business partners was John Field. There is some information about him. And I would like to say that unlike, for example, Elisha, he had much wider business interests. Besides shoe, leather manufacturing, he also was interested in real estate and owned Boston Land Company. He also was interested in railroads and construction of them, in different kind of other businesses, and also telegraph, telephone, and so on. And here you see the bank which he co-founded, Mechanics National Bank, also Boston Rubber Shoe Company, which he co-founded with Elisha Converse and was the president of the company, and American Rapid Telegraph, which he also co-founded. He was a devoted Baptist, and because of this, he came to Michigan and tried to defend Baptist Union rights in this area. But when he found that there are a few enterprises which can be very profitable, he also decided to develop his business there. And you can see what businesses he was interested in and in what businesses he participated. It was from plaster company to furniture company to rapids manufacturing company, train station, and so on. Speaking about his Baptist, affiliations. So as I told, he was a devoted Baptist. It was actually his family religion. And he donated a lot of money and efforts to Baptist church in Boston. Actually, you can see two churches which he attended where he was deacon, and to which churches he donated money during his lifetime. It's Tremont Temple and First Baptist Church of Boston. And you see a beautiful Converse Hall in Tremont Temple, which was named after him, after his death. You can see Plagio, and you can see also interior of Baptist Church of Boston. He had good friends among the reverends of Boston who belonged to Baptist Church. One of the yeah, I'm sorry. And devoted very touchful speech after he died, Reverend Hope. And I also wrote about him in this book. Here you can see James Converse family, his wife and 3 children, and their house on Beacon Street. I would like to say that Elisha Converse house was also on Beacon Street. All Converse family, they have their mansions there, and some of them still you can see. His eldest son was also James Whitten Converse, and he was known for his participation in American Civil War. So he went as a volunteer. He returned back, in whole, we can say, so no wounds, whatever. And you can see his army officers, his commanders. He went through a few major battles of the Civil War and returned back. He was very well respected. He began as a sergeant and finished the war as a captain. Unfortunately, he died very young, at 32 at this time. So the second son, Costello Converse, married his first cousin, the daughter of Elisha Converse, Mary Ida Converse. And probably you will know that they did quite a lot in our city, not only in Boston. So he was a very successful businessman. You can see here business enterprises where he was either director, president, vice president, and so on. And there are 2 houses, 2 estates. A few words about their philanthropy. They did quite a lot, as I told, for Malden, but not only for Malden, but for the whole Boston area, for New England Baptist Hospital, for Homeopathic Hospital, and so on and so on. They donated tons of money, actually thousands of dollars for supporting every kind of, medical or children or whatever they can see, any kind of non-profit organization. I just maybe a little bit fast, but I try to go for. And the younger daughter of James Converse, Emma Converse Chick, and her husband, they also participated in family businesses and did quite a lot for Boston charities and for Malden. And a few words about famous people of Converse family. Probably some of you know, some of you maybe not, but I would like to say just a few words. One of them, the first one, Sir Benjamin Thompson, who became Count Rumford in England and Bavaria, and became a very famous scientist, inventor, statesman, and army leader. So his life is just a beautiful, adventurous life of the 18th century, and about him there are written a lot of books, especially about his inventions. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but you can see some of them. On the other side of him, you can see Colonel Charles Converse, who actually was a military man and also did quite a lot of research on Converse history. Another military man of the family was Rear Admiral George Converse, who was also inventor in the army field and was noted during his lifetime. Here came people who belonged to art, two of them at least, Charles Converse and Frederick Converse, two composers, and they were quite famous during their lifetime. Also two businessmen, Edmund Converse and another man who probably you will know, Marcus Converse, who created the famous Converse rubber shoe factory in Malden. And you know about famous Converse sneakers, so he was the man who was behind this.
Councilor Linehan would like to speak.
Oh, I was just going to remind you that we do have a time limit that we're coming up on, and I didn't want to lose an opportunity for you to share where folks can find the book or hear you speak about it as you begin to wrap up. I just want to make sure that we had a chance for you to mention those things as you get to the end. Where can folks buy the book or hear you speak about it if you have any speaking engagements coming up?
Okay.
So if you could just wrap it up like in 2 minutes, we do have a limit.
Yeah,
And we
actually-
don't want to, I want to buy the book. I mean, you tell me the entire story, so.
okay.
You get a little sizzle in the steak.
Actually, a few books, here with me. So if you would like, if you have, money, whatever, so you can buy them. Or I can leave with maybe Michelle or maybe with our clerk, if Mr. Clerk, if he would like. So, and just the few last words. So a few other businessmen, famous businessmen of the 18th century who belonged to Converse family. Dexter Converse, who actually founded the famous Converse College in South Carolina. Morton Converse, who founded the famous toy factory in Massachusetts. And also two people who belong, I can say, to art and to literature. Larkin Mead, the famous sculptor, and his sister, who was an artist, architect, and designer. So these members of the Converse family, and also these people who make a serious impact. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Leander Thompson, John Putnam, Charles Converse, and Delarraine Corey, who you know, the famous Malden historian. So these people, and also William Hill, who was the nephew of James and Elisha Converse. So I wrote about their, books. So that's all. I tried to make it fast as soon as.
Questions from the council? Council Murphy, is that your light?
That is my light.
Because I know we've been testing them. So Council Winslow has his light on too. So Council Winslow is first.
I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Am I on?
No, Council Winslow is first.
Okay.
I just want to make, we were testing the mics to see if they work, so I apologize, Councilman.
Ina, thank you so much. This is very interesting. I mean, one of the things I say about Converse is in the 1890s, that family, that would have been referred to like you might talk about Bill Gates or you know, someone at that level of fame. They were a very famous family and based right here in Malden in Boston. So thank you so much for, it's just amazing family and I'm very interested about learning more. Thank you so much. Great.
Actually, you know, the problem was that there are also only a few documents, real documents, which I could find because family, unfortunately, didn't keep any diaries. They have a few, you know, files where the mention of Elisha was born, another. So no diaries, no memoirs, nothing. So it's just a few articles in the newspapers. And fortunately for me, there were, you know, Corey works and some others of Delaraine Corey. So just piece after piece after piece I have, you know, to find. So, and it came to the book.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. So Councilor Murphy now.
Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate Councilor Winslow's comments, but thank you. I mean, it's just so interesting, and I definitely want a book. How much are they? How much are the books?
25.
Okay. I want one before I leave tonight, so if you could, every Maldonian should have one.
Yeah.
And Councilor Karen Colon-Hayes.
Thank you. Just to say what everybody else is saying, it was a great, great job. I remember your first book. I remember you coming into the office, and I'm just thinking, how, you know, all the work that went into putting that together. I didn't realize you had 3 now, so that's great. I'll have to add this to my collection. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you. Thank you for helping keep Malden's history alive. It's always been very great to work with you to help preserve the history where we can, and I look forward to finding out more about our history in this book. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Seeing no other lights, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Let me just try to shut down. Okay, next order of business.
City Engineer Yem Lip will appear before the City Council to provide an update on the signalization and lane striping project on Center Street, Route 60.
I think everybody can remember we did ask, Yem was unfortunately ill a couple weeks ago. We did ask Yem to come down to the next meeting. The mayor did send down a memo. Hopefully everybody's seen that memo by now. It was sent out, the clerk sent it out about 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. So Yem's before us. So Councilor, I want to turn the mic over to Council Crowe. Council Crowe?
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Yem, for being down here, feeling better. And so, again, as the council president just said, that the mayor did send out a memo later this afternoon, and it does really, I think I was pleased to see the memo because it kind of gave a little sort of timeline of sort of when this process started, which was, you know, really in February of 2021. So, you know, it kind of gives where we were going, where the thought process was, where, you know, where we've hit some snags. So I'm hoping everybody did get a chance to read it because it was really, I thought, very well done. And I think if there's any questions you want to add anything or where we're going from here, from where you left off. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So Yem, can you just state your name and address for the record, just so we have it?
I'm sorry?
Can you just state your name and address for the record so we have it?
My name is Yem Lip. I'm the city engineer. Thank you for having me here, Councilor.
You're welcome.
So if you don't have a copy of the memo, I have, you know, one here for you if you need one. Again, you know, I'm here to give you an update on the Center Street.
Oh, your mic went off again. Hold on. I don't know why it's dropping, but you're on now.
So I'm here to provide an update for the Center Street bus lane and the signal project. Again, you do have a copy of the memo, and if you don't, I can give you one. If you want to take a few minutes to go through the memo, and then we can go through any discussion or comments, you know, that might be the way to go.
I would suggest that, just because it's 4 pages and it's pretty in-depth, so people that, I don't want to have Clerk Lucy read it into the record.
No, exactly.
So if Mr. Lip has some, and then we can take a 2-minute recess to give people just a chance to,
You want to take a
Read.
2-minute recess to read? Okay. On Council Crow's minute to take a 2-minute recess so we can read this. Seconded by Council Condon. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? 2-minute recess. We need a quorum, though. Do we have enough? 1, 2, here we go. Where's Councilor Murphy? Yep, everybody, nope. I'd like to call the council back in order. On Councilor Crow's motion to come back to the city council. All in favor? All right, back in session. Okay, Councilor Crowe, you still have the floor.
Well, actually, so you know what the memo says, and so I do actually want to request that the memo be attached to the minutes so that anyone that was reading it, you know, discussing it. So I just wanted to know if there's anything that you wanted to add, any updates? I mean, I know the memo was only from today, and where we're going from here, or any suggestions on how we sort of move forward?
Hold on, the mics, for some reason, these mics. Sorry. No, it's you, it's the system, I don't know what's going on.
There isn't much for me to add to the memo. It's pretty thorough and, you know, give a good description from start to finish to where we are now. But I did have a conversation with the MBTA staff about the MOU regarding the construction MOU and the O&M, the operations and maintenance MOU. You know, we need to tweak the language a little bit, and then, you know, hopefully we can, you know, get the approval from you and, you know, the mayor, and then hopefully we'll can get it back, get the MOU, both of the MOUs back to MBTA and have them sign, and we can proceed with the remaining of the project.
And so I think today is really information, so I would assume that then, once we have an agreed MOU, then a financial paper will come down to actually have the city do that initial investment with the reimbursement.
Correct, for the amount, we're talking about $220,000 worth of signal upgrade for the 3 signals along Center Street.
So the 3 signal, is it at Center in Commercial?
It's the focal point is the Center, Main and Exchange, also Center at Middlesex.
Okay,
So those 3 signals, you know, need to be upgraded.
the most work.
Yes.
So, I know I would open, I think, you know, he's here for questions after people read and sort of understand where we were, where we started, where we're going.
Yep, open up to questions. Councilor O'Malley. I am. It says it's on. Is it on? Hit the button again. Try it. It says it's on. Hold on. Try it now. Try it now.
Oh, yeah, now it works.
Okay.
So Mr. Lip and I were able to catch up beforehand, and, you know, I think that, as we discussed last week, top priority is just getting the signals done. And, you know, I would move and put out there that we endorse and empower the city to execute the memorandums of understanding when the mayor's office and Mr. Lip have been able to get final versions of those. But time is of the essence. I think that, you know, as we all know, the lights need to be done, and the sooner that can be done, the better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming tonight. You know, I want to say that I have been very pleased working with you on a whole as a city, and we really have made a lot of progress in maintaining our streets and upgrading our traffic signals. I know the first time I met with you, you pointed out that one of the top priorities with the city was that we had 70 traffic signals that really had not been upgraded in many years. So it's not something that, you know, it's something that's been out there, so we know that. And I mean, I think the other thing that we should all be proud of is that the things we have made good progress on. I was just talking to Councilor Murphy today about Forest and Main Street, about a new resident who's so happy with that and what it's meaning for her life to have a new upgraded system. So the challenge here is that, you know, we as a council have dedicated $110,000 a year or so to upgrade traffic signals. As we know from the MOU in this memo, is that this is costing well, maybe upwards of $500,000. So that's one of the things. So I know this set of traffic signals is particularly dated, complex, and costly. So I appreciate you taking this on. And can you tell us a little bit about, you know, our consultants, Pine Ridge, and kind of what your discussions with them, as if we get the MOU and the funding in place, your confidence that they'll be able to get the equipment and the upgrades done. What's your relationship with them and how successful that's been?
So we have Pine Ridge as our on-call vendor for traffic signal and related lighting also. They're very good to work with. We've done quite a bit of work with them in the past couple of years. I think over $500,000 worth of work, and all went toward signal upgrade. We just completed Clifton and Summer recently. That's a complete revamp of the whole signals, including wheelchair ramps and sidewalk improvements. So that's the latest one. But you know, that they're a good vendor to work with, and they provide quotes, you know, to get the signals at Center and Main, and Main and Exchange, also Middlesex and Center, you know, as part of the project. That you know, so you know, again, we complete the line striping earlier this year, and we've done some minor tweaking of the timing and the sequence of the signals, and this is the next phase that we need to do, because there's a little bit more than just tweaking of the timing and sequence of the.
Now, I know when I sat in your office, and I think it was Pine Ridge, did they work on Forest and Main Street? Were they involved in that signal upgrade?
That was Electric Light. We had a 3-year contract with Electric Light, and then and the last 2 years it's been with Pine Ridge.
So will these anticipated upgrades, will they, I know I was so impressed, like the technology at Forest and Main, where there are cameras and you can literally sit in your office and see what's happening on instantaneous basis. Is this upgrade will have that kind of technology?
That's correct. So the upgrade of the signal include the cabinets, the controls, the detection with the camera detection. That's what's needed, and then to be able to accommodate the signal improvement for the MBTA bus, you know, the bus preemption.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we can talk about this aside. I mean, one of the things I brought up both at Exchange Street and Middlesex Street is a method called pedestrian late intervals. So I'd be interested to see if these new signals have that capability, because what that does, especially at these tighter intersections, it makes it so the pedestrian signals work, especially as the cross streets go. It sort of merges a couple of things, so it saves time. I mean, right now, so that's something I'm curious. I've raised that at Middlesex,
Right.
and Exchange Street. So you don't have to get into any technical details, but it's something I'm curious about. I think that could be a huge improvement, because as you go down Center Street, Middlesex is a really big barrier. You know, we have to let, you know, a few people cross for the parking garages, and then that also includes a pedestrian cycle. If there's a way to consolidate that time a little bit, that can be helpful. And it's the same thing happens at Exchange and Main Street. So this is a technique that other communities have been doing that can make it better for everybody. So you don't have to wait as long to walk or go through those intersections. So that's the type of thing that you can't do with the current technology that maybe the new stuff can. So not that we have to get into any more technical details, but this is the type of thing, as we upgrade our traffic signals, it can be better for everybody. So that's the type of thing. So we can talk offline,
Sure.
But that's something. Thank you. Great.
Thank you. Councilor Carrie McDonald. Hold on, Councilor, 1 second. There you go.
Thank you, Council President. I had 2 questions and I just wanted to very quickly summarize for folks who might be watching this and don't have the memo in front of them. I really appreciate this explanation of how we got here. And, you know, so my understanding from the memo is that when we agreed to get this money from the MBTA to change the pattern, the striping on the road, to make it easier for buses and pedestrians to get through this stretch of Center Street, the studies about what it was gonna do to the traffic were predicated on being able to time the lights. And we striped the road before trying to time the lights, and then found that our traffic lights can't handle the timing mechanisms they want to do. So the MBTA is agreeing to pay for the cost of upgrading the lights so that we can do the timing. So I'm very glad they're doing that, and the way to do it quicker, it might be for us to front the money because we're already engaged with this contractor.
Correct.
That's correct. That's
Okay,
correct,
great.
yeah.
I was just want to make sure for the folks watching, they caught what we're talking about here. I am very supportive of us figuring out the quickest way forward and following through on that original plan to see how it could work. My first question was similar to Councilor Winslow, is are there other key corridors of the city where we would love to time the lights, but the stoplight infrastructure is not updated enough to do that? I mean, I think it's a great tool for controlling speed so that as well as getting people through the city, so that we're not having, the kind of pedestrian concerns with people going down, Route 60 at 60 miles an hour. So is that something that you have looked at or your office has looked at?
We have a consultant looking at all our signal throughout the city. John Alessi is the main point for that, and so that's part of the overall assessment of the signals in the city. And from that, we can look into what else can be done to improve and prioritize signal upgrade as we see, and not to just get to a point where when it's breaking down and we have to fix it. So that's taking place right now, and hopefully we'll get something good out of that.
Great. Well, I would love to know what it would take to make that possible in more places, as Councilor Winslow was suggesting. My other question is, in looking at the impacts of what we've already been able to do, one of the main concerns was about pedestrian safety in this corridor. There's a lot of people walking back and forth, folks who have assistive devices and in wheelchairs, young folks, old folks. Do we know anything from the data or the review we've been able to do about what the impact has been on pedestrian safety downtown?
Well, I can tell you that in the past couple of years, we made some improvement to commercial and center, where we had two pedestrians that got hit, and we've done some improvement to the signal, where we incorporate the exclusive PET signal, so that now you have more time, and whereas before it was concurrent for this intersection, which is a little bit of a very busy intersection, and we've done that, and that made a huge improvement. For Main and Center, we used the Complete Street money, which we got from 2021. So that was part of the delay in this project. We made upgrade to the the wheelchair ramp, to curbs, to make just to improve for pedestrian, and that was the Complete Street money. And we also have done some work on Canal and Center. We've done some work again on Main, Commercial and Center, also at the busway. And once you get west past the MBTA rail, we've done some improvement there. So those are all improvement for pedestrian safety. That's something we looked at. And so prior to striping the road, we repaved the road. And prior to repaving the road, we replaced some lead lines. So there was a bunch of different things we had to do to get to a point where we can stripe the road on Center Street, Commercial plus Main. So we've done quite a bit of improvement, and the logistic behind it is getting the procurement in place, getting the contractor in place, and then trying to get the work done. We've done some work at night because the corridor is so congested, And this is, you know, this is during COVID time when traffic wasn't that bad, so, but it's still so bad that we had to do a lot of the work at night. So, we've done some improvements.
Well, thank you. That's very helpful to hear all that backstory and your ongoing attention to those safety and accessibility issues. I'll just add finally that there's a piece in the memo that notes that as we look at these more complex, transportation and infrastructure projects, that we as counselors really need to be working very closely with city staff from the beginning. And so I realize that sometimes we as counselors also, we want to get the thing done right now because that's what our constituents are pushing us to do. And I just want to say for myself, I really welcome if we're working on something and our city staff says, you really have to take the time to do this right. I always welcome that message. I want us to be good stewards of our resources and good supporters of our staff. So thank you for that note, and I'll do my best to support that going forward. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council McDonald. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lip.
Hello.
Love dealing with you. We have lots of good conversations. I guess I just want to kind of, I just unfortunately, for getting this at 4 o'clock, did not have time to read it until just now. Didn't even know it was in my inbox, having come right from work. So, couple of things. One of the things that really I want to delve into is the MOU. Okay, I and a number of other councilors here, for whatever reason, were under the impression that the striping of Center Street was temporary and it was something we were going to go back and reevaluate. I understand, obviously, that, we're not seeing the striping, what traffic would be like with the striping because the timing of the light and sequencing of the lights has not happened. My question comes to the MOU and the money that the T is going to front for us. And I would not be comfortable, moving forward with this until I understand what the MOU is. I've heard through the grapevine that we're talking about a 3-year commitment to maintain the roadway as it is, and it's not temporary. So that's, an area that I'm very concerned about. I was not in favor of this. I'm in favor of, obviously, sequencing, timing, new pedestrian paths, new pedestrian walkways, et cetera. I was not in favor of this bus lane because I felt it was going to push the traffic into the neighborhoods, which I sincerely believe it has done. And that is an extraordinary number of complaints that I get on a daily basis from our secondary roads because people are not using Center Street because of that bus lane. We were also told that the police and fire would be able to use that bus lane, but in speaking to them, they don't want to use that bus lane because they feel the entire population of drivers would have to be retrained because the normal thing that someone does when they hear a siren is they move to the right, and they move right into that bus lane, and the feeling is it will cause more accidents. So I'm a little confused as to where we're going with this project based on some of the information that, has come to us just with the road being paved, i.e. the push into the neighborhoods, the fact that police and fire aren't going to use that lane. And is it, the biggest question, is this temporary or by moving forward with this MOU, are we committing ourselves to live with this for 3 years? So those are some of the questions that are really in, pardon me? Yeah, and those are some of the questions that are in my mind that I really want to see answered, or at least get the answers to, because I did go into, as I said, I was not a proponent of this, along with Councilor Condon, but I know a lot of my colleagues went into this feeling that this was a temporary measure, and I guess that's the big question for me. What's temporary? Is it 6 months? Is it 3 years? What does this MOU say?
So 2 parts of the MOU. One is for the construction of this, for the installation of the signals, and that they want to make sure that once it's paid for, installed, they want to make sure that it's going to get used for the next year or so. And the other part is the O&M part. The version they send us does include the 3 years. Every 3 years you restripe the road to make sure that the line striping is safe and that's not worn out. Again, that looked at the term, and they agreed to just a one-year term, you know.
Okay, so it'd be 1 year, and then we can reevaluate whether or not we want to keep
Correct.
this particular situation.
Correct. But 1 year, you know, to maintain, to make sure that, you know, the lanes are, the bus lane, there's the bike lane, and the, anything that needs to be touched up, obviously, it's to our, you know, it's, again, everybody used the road, so, I mean, those lanes gotta be kept up.
Okay.
And, you know, if the road get paved down the road at some point, we can certainly evaluate, you know, what can be done, you know, what needs to be done on a permanent basis going forward. And the Traffic Commission, you know, should have some say in that.
So are you saying that at the end of a year, we would have to have the money to repave the road to get rid of the lane? Is that?
I think,
I just want to get it out here, you know, exactly what we're talking about. I mean, are we stuck with this bus lane? I mean, until we have more money to grind it out.
well, I think we still have time to review and see what can be done. I mean, there's a committee set up, you know, for this project. After the project is completely, fully implemented, after 4 months later, we can look at what can be done, and if it's, you know, nothing is written in stone, you know,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Karen Cologne-Hayes.
Thank you. Hi, thanks for coming here, Lem. This is a great memo. Also, for people listening and watching tonight, I'm glad that Counselor Murphy brought up the MOU. There's a lot of things in here. I'm hoping that everybody goes to the site and reads this. And also because, you know, one good thing that came out of here, I've worked in research for many years, and sometimes you're researching something and you don't find something here, but you find almost like a mistake, and it ends up being good. So the good thing is we found out that our infrastructure here with the signals is terrible, and so the good news is that we're upgrading that. So that's great. I did also, though, remember, I wasn't on the council, but I do remember I spoke in favor of this, and there was a part in the grant that said there would be public feedback after, I want to say a year, maybe it wasn't, I don't know, but there would be like a survey coming out to see how people are liking it. Is it doing what we thought it was going to do? And then we would move beyond that. So I don't know if what's changed in here, we don't have a good idea about how it's going to work, because the signal, you know, we did this backwards, not, you know, for any reason, but the fact that we couldn't do it any other way. So we're not getting a good feel, and what we're getting is very negative feedback because the signals aren't changing, so the streets aren't working the way they were supposed to be and that we thought. So a couple of things with that. I would like to know an answer if we are gonna have a public meeting after everything is up and running the way it's supposed to be, and then we can, as a city, decide if we want to, you know, continue this further. That's the question one. And then also about marketing and getting the word out to people. I spoke with John Alessi, you know, our transportation planner as well, to see about marketing in general, and so that people are aware out there, maybe the city's Facebook posts or in the paper, just keep putting it out there that this project, maybe pieces of this, right, that we're not done with it, and then put people a little bit more at ease about this, because there is a lot of confusion, and it's not working the way it should be, but only because we found out about the signals crossing the line. So I think that moving forward with this, to see what it would really look like is a good idea. And then to bring up the Complete Streets and the Walkability Commission, I'm not sure if they're still around or doing anything, but maybe involve them as well as you know, John Alessi, just to get everybody on one page to move forward. They could help maybe get the word out if the Walkability Commission is still around. I'm not sure. So and the other question was the police and fire. So I heard a little differently from that. I don't think, I heard that they were going to be using the lanes. What I remember hearing was that there was a way, once the signals were upgraded, that the police and fire could adjust them on their own, like if there was a fire.
So that's phase 3 of the project, and that phase 3 is the T will occur the equipment, and they will install it.
Okay.
So phase 3 involved installing the bus preemption, which could be used by fire truck, ambulance,
Right.
police car, for signals on Center Street, including Main Street, Main Street at Charles, Main Street at Eastern, Main Street at Cross and Medford, and continue all the way up to Everett, all the way to the circles. So that's the entirety of the project between the two community and Everett. I believe Everett, they sign off on their part. They may even add some money from the city to help install, upgrade some of the signal.
Okay. So it sounds like we haven't gotten all the benefits yet, so I think people are a little frustrated.
Correct. It's been,
No fault of, yeah, obviously, it's not a fault of yours, based on our infrastructure and the way that we had to go about things. So we're waiting on the MOU, and hopefully, we could get a real feel at some point of what this was supposed to do. And then the question would be, I'd like to get an answer from someone, I don't know who has it, are we going to put it back out to the public so the public can give us feedback, and then we decide whether or not we're going to move forward for this? Thank you.
Council Linehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yem, thank you for being here. I know we talk often, and one of the things that I see in this memo and that I know is a way that you work is being willing to assess things that maybe didn't go the way we expected or take feedback from the community and tweak. And I think that takes leadership, and I want to thank you for that. Some of the things that jumped out to me in the memo that I want to sort of highlight for the community is what I'm hearing in here is that we're very reliant on a ward councilor to bring a project proposal forward, and that our engineering department didn't have the time they would have liked to necessarily engage when the opportunity came up. I think I've definitely been in that boat myself as a ward councilor where something comes up that's of such magnitude, you really feel like this is not in my professional expertise, it's something we clearly need. You're in the position of having to come to city staff and asking them to juggle their priorities to look at something because there's a grant program or, God forbid, an accident or a need or something has come up. And I guess I just want us to be thinking about ways that when we hear about things like this, that we can be respectful of our department heads' time and need to engage, but also not hold ourselves back from some of these grant opportunities. And I think one thing we've done well as a council is investing in a transportation planner, and I know that you work well with our transportation planner. I would consider you partners in something like this if it were to come before us now. I do know with some of these, the shared streets and the community connections, these are sort of by design fast build or 6 month or less horizons where the money becomes available. The whole point is to fill a last mile connection or do something that the city is maybe struggling to find the funding for. I think if we find out about things like this and there is a turnaround that's a few months, I don't think that's unreasonable. I think we can do public engagement. So I don't want I don't want the message here to be we should have taken even longer. My recollection is that we had a lot of meetings about this. I know we are not all on the same page about how that went, how that unfolded, and certainly the result is not where we all thought we were going to be. Nobody knew that these signals were going to be in such poor shape or that the community would be in a position of being so frustrated with us. So having said all of that, I think I just don't want us to count ourselves out when these things come up in the future. I think the more that we can invest in having staff that stay aware of state programs and have a list of things in Malden that might be a good fit, that we can empower you to really lead on that and then come to us for help with the community engagement and doing those public hearings and getting it before the community in a forum like this. I think that's where we can really be helpful. None of us are transportation engineers and we probably shouldn't be, but I think that as a city we have to look at things holistically, and we're not going to be able to move on these grant programs if we don't give the leeway like that to our city staff. So I will just put that out there for myself, but I would ask my colleagues to think of that as well, that we really have staff. We're trying to give them the tools that they need to get these grants and to build things in a way that works for all of our community members. So again, thank you for coming in. I know this has been a tough project and tough conversation to come and have to take the critique, but I think that we can get there. I have been, I will continue to be in favor of having bus and bike lanes on Route 60. I want to be really explicit about that. The driving is going down in our community and the T ridership and bike and pedestrian use is up, and we need to reflect that in our planning. I understand that not everybody shares that viewpoint, and we're all, we wouldn't be an effective body if we all had the same viewpoint. So I'm not suggesting that we're ever going to get to the consensus on that, but I do think, what I hear from in the community is that they want us to get this right so that we don't rip it out and go back to it being a road of multiple travel lanes focused on throughput for cars moving through our community. They want it to serve people who live here and commute, and I hope we can get to that point by working together.
Thank you, Council Condon.
Thank you, Council President. I'm not a fan of this project, as everyone knows. Right from the beginning, I felt like the biggest problem has been the signalization, because the few boxes that I did go into in Ward 2, the boxes, the hardware was antiquated, so it only stood to reason that it would flow right across the city. And to not have that done right now is a little bit disturbing. If we come out of this with anything, I hope people can safely cross C1, Route 60, and I hope that bicyclists and buses, and I gotta be honest with you, I haven't seen many of either one, can travel Route 60. What you see is drivers frustrated, and they travel right down the bus lane. They don't even care. I'm not sure if they know they're not supposed to be in there, but you see it all the time. People will, instead of waiting, and it does get backed up, and hopefully that's resolved with the change of the signals. But people get frustrated, they go right into the bus lane and travel, I haven't seen, I'm wondering what these drivers are gonna do when there's ambulances or fire trucks, because we were all taught forever to pull to the right on the road. Well, you pull to the right, you're into the bicycle and the bus lane, so there's a little confusion out there on people knowing what to do, when to go into the bus lane to take a right-hand turn. So hopefully it can get squared away, particularly the signalization, because that is a disaster. So,
No,
thank you.
I do remember working with you on Highland Ave and Devia signal when I first got on board, and that was wasn't a hard fix, but again, it's we have signal like that all over the city, where if you can just add a detection, it could help make the signal a little more efficient by so we don't have wasted time on, say, for example, Devia Street, where it's a side street and it's not being used. The traffic flow is different in the morning and in the afternoon. So, yeah, we do have that all over the city. Again, for the Center Street bus lane project, it's new. I get that. It's frustrating if there's a delay in the intersection due to the signal. That's that.
The other thing that bothers me a bit is, why you weren't brought into the process much sooner as our, city engineer. So hopefully that doesn't occur in the future. Because this is right up your alley as far as being our city engineer. We have to depend on you to be out there and being involved. So it's not your fault, I understand. But hopefully any of us get our city engineer department involved. Thank you, Yem.
Thank you, Council. Council Winslow.
Yeah, no, I think one thing I just want to point out is this was, I think, first came up in like November of 2020, and one of the things I point out is that John Alessi, our transportation engineer, has only been here about a year. And one of the dilemmas, as Councilor Linehan pointed out, is that basically before we had a transportation planner, we were the transportation planner. So that's why we hired them. And I think this was a hard situation where we had the MBTA breathing down Councilor O'Malley's neck to say, we can get $1 million here, and we really want to try this, we were, you know, the region's happening, bus lanes are happening all over the region. We were the only community that hadn't tried it. So I think that's one of the things we have to give Yem and ourselves. We did step up and put in the funds to get a transportation planner. This one just didn't get a chance to have groundwork laid. One of the things, a couple things, in John Alessi's job description was to evaluate our traffic signals. So that was one of the things that we did. Unfortunately, because of COVID, it took them too long to hire. The other thing, and this is all on us, tomorrow night in this very room, we have our third community meeting on our transit action plan where we're talking about this very kind of thing, about how we make transit work better in our community. And that's the type of thing, signal prioritization, potential bus lanes or skip lanes. This is the type of thing. So I hope you all, as counselors, you know, we have John Alessi, a consultant, and a committee of residents working on this stuff to get this done. And that's whatever it did before they did this stuff. We didn't have that. We didn't do that. So we are taking the steps now to get over that. So I think be aware of that. We are trying to plan ahead and identify these things ahead of time, because the thing that I'm saying is that now, especially the federal infrastructure money, there's literally hundreds of millions of dollars available. Other communities, Revere got money to upgrade all their traffic signals on Broadway, $5 million project. Lynn's getting $20 million to do the Lynnway. By doing this planning, by having a transportation planner, we can get that to happen. We can't do it at $100,000 a year. And that's the challenge, you get engaged at that level. So I think I appreciate everybody's patience and the public's patience on this. And, you know, we all know this didn't get done quite the way we did when we approved it. Appreciate, and, you know, Yem, your effort to really try to work this out. And like I say, that we have, you know, this is a step to a further step in my mind. So I would like actually be supportive of, you know, an MOU, particularly if it's a 1 year, you know, where we will evaluate this. You know, I did some evaluation this afternoon. There's actually one of the benefits so far is that there's been about a 15% decrease in traffic crashes. You know, I can go to a state database and it has the police, every crash goes on the state database almost immediately. So before, I went back before COVID to get a fair sample, but between 2018 and this year, you know, 15% reduction in crashes. I don't know about pedestrians, but, you know, probably the best thing about that is go talk to crossing guards by the high school, by the Chevrolet school. I think they are very pleased about a little bit better control of traffic there. So I think there's other benefits. I think certainly I hate to see the traffic signals going and no pedestrians going, no cars going. We need to get some traffic signals that are more sophisticated so we're not all wasting our time for no good reason. So, but like I say, I'm supportive of let's take this next step and get to that point where we're, you know, wringing every second we can out of the system we have out there and see after a year how that is in terms of how it's working for traffic flow and safety and, you know, planning for the future. So thank you.
Thank you. Council Karen Colon-Hayes.
Thank you. Just briefly, I would like to say education is always a great thing. Without understanding what is, without understanding what it is that we're trying to do, the public is getting a little bit antsy. So I'd like to actually ask and invite our transportation planner, John Alessi, to see if maybe he could come and talk a little bit about the bike and bus lanes, not this in particular, like the plan of going forward, but I know I called him and asked questions like what you were just asking, Councilor Condon, I think about driving in the bike lanes, what you can do and what you can't do. And I remember something, and I might be wrong on this, but I remember him saying, if there's certain places, if there's nowhere in that lane, you can actually go in a lane and make a right. Like, and I was trying to find them, but he did have graphics that I had asked him to send to me. So I just want to say maybe we have him come up and at a later time and talk to the public about what it is that they can and can't do, at least in the time, until we get everything working.
Yep,
Thank
we
you.
can absolutely
Okay.
have them come before the council.
Okay.
Yep, hopefully after Christmas.
Yes.
Thank you. Council Seeker.
Thank you, Council President. So my take on this is, we are in this mess because of the MBTA. It has nothing to do with us as the city. I personally voted for this, but I only voted for it, not for the bike or the bus lane, but to get the signalization updated, okay? And as far as I'm concerned, the MBTA did not do their due diligence at the beginning of this project to check and see the condition of our signalization to begin with. And now, you asked what has changed? I think what has changed is they're paying a lot more money to upgrade our signalization that they promised us in the beginning, and now they want us to sign an MOU that's gonna say that we are actually going to keep the upkeep on these bus and bike lanes, because it definitely was a trial and error thing that was brought to us in the beginning. And the thing that sold me was the police and fire cars were gonna be able to talk to the lights and actually change them to turn red and green when they needed to be changed. And that definitely was a thing, and I also do remember them, I think you just said it, Councilor Murphy, that the fire and police could use the bus and bike lanes if they needed to get somewhere when they needed to. So this is not our problem as a city. I'm not an engineer, I am a mom, and I know that the MBTA should not have put that paint down until the signalization was completed and up and running and working properly. That was the key to this project, and you cannot tell me that they haven't done this in several other communities throughout the Commonwealth to know that signalization should have been done before the paint hit the ground. So I want to thank you for all your hard work. It is nothing to do with your office. This totally lies on the MBTA. And I would think twice about signing that MOU for the upkeep and operation of this bus and bike lane. So.
Okay, I want to speak. So first off, I think everybody agreed, at least hopefully, that before any involvement, I think Councilor McDonald said it the most eloquently, we have to discuss our plans and present it with you, the professionals, and the traffic engineers, and John Alessi, so no issues like this come up again in the future. We're not the professionals. We wanted to get this done. We understand that. I voted for it. Not going to hide behind it, right? So I think that's the first thing we all have to realize. Things like this have to be dealt with the professionals. There's certain timelines that doesn't put us in this predicament. I look at it a little different in terms of who's at fault. I think everybody in this room, including the MBTA, is all at fault. Because we all knew when we voted for this, right, that paint wasn't going down until the upgrades were done. Now, we know the MBTA didn't do their due diligence, but we still allowed it to go down. All of us, right? We didn't stop it. We might have voted for it, we might not have voted for it, but we still allowed that paint to go down. So the way I look at it is, we're all at fault, now we have to fix it. Councilman Crowe, and I think the MBTA is more at fault, so I don't disagree with that statement. But the MBTA, and you've been on those calls, I think it was starting June or July, Yem. Myself, Councilor Crowe, and yourself met every month, right? And there was no updates for 5 months. For 5 months, there was no updates, and they kept on blaming us for this traffic signalization. And that's fine and well and dandy, but they were pointing the finger. And they made jokes about how old it was. I didn't find it professional. We lost one of their MBTA persons, right? The representative who worked for the MBTA for us that was in the project, we lost them. We did get an MOU probably early September, which you caught. There was a mixed, there wasn't an intersection there. We finally got it back. And then there was this second MOU that was attached that basically said, you're gonna upgrade this road and paint it and keep it free from potholes for 3 years, regardless, when we want you to tell you. So first of all, I would tell you, every resident in the city of Malden should have that same MOU for their streets, right? We should be doing the same thing for everybody's streets. It's unrealistic. So I was dead against that 3-year commitment because everybody was talking for 1 year. I will support the 1 year because that was the project's based on, was the optimization of that corridor, right? I will support that as long as the MOU matches, and I do not want to vote on that financial paper until I see that MOU, at least, not maybe executed, but at least the final version, right? Correct. I can tell you as a parent, my son goes to Malden Catholic. That morning, I hope this works. I don't think it's going to work. The amount of cars between 6:45 and 10 o'clock on that corridor, it's frightful. And I know Council Winslow says there's less accidents, there probably is, but I want to see the data for the neighborhoods. Because I can tell you, I cut through the neighborhoods now, because you cannot go down Route 60 within 45, you can't go down Route 60 in 45 minutes. Can't be done. And I know we talk about Everett. Everett added a lane. We reduced a lane. So I'm hoping it works. I don't think it's gonna work. Because what I also see happening is we have a new building over here, a new development happening across the street, 300 Exchange Street. We know the average salary. We know they need parking spaces. We want people to come to Malden. It's gonna be by car. We know it from them. There's a couple developments around here that will not sign agreements because they don't have parking spaces. So the idea that we're gonna not have more traffic in this area, it's tomfoolery. And to be quite honest with you, it's probably a bad thing if you don't have enough traffic. I don't look at it myself. Go to Somerville. Go to Assembly Row and see how many cars are in Assembly Row. And they are bookend by 2 train stations. I used to take the train every day to work. Once in a while, I take the train to Somerville. I'll be honest with you, I drive there. I got kids, I wanna go shopping. So I am very optimistic. I'm hopeful that this works. I am. But I just have a feeling we're trying to take this much traffic and put it in one lane, even though we're gonna optimize the lights and think it's gonna work. I hope it does, I really do. But we should not blame just the MBTA. We should have stopped this. When we saw that paint go down, we should have stopped it because we're dealing with a nightmare now. It's a nightmare in the morning. And I want everybody in this room to drive from Beebe to the other side of Malden and see how long it takes you to get. It is frightful. And Council Seminolli's not here. I cut through his neighborhood. I'm the one who goes down those side streets, right? And I speak to Council Linehan all the time. It's not just Route 60 either. I live on Elm Street. Try traffic on Elm Street with schools. Try it. 2 doors down, I had a neighbor who had a stroke that they had to tow a car because somebody's parked at a fire hydrant, picking their kids up and blocking driveways. So this is not a new idea in the city of Malden. We have to get better at some of these things, right? And I think the idea that a lot of this is gonna go away, it's not. But I'm hoping we get the MOU very soon, within the next maybe 2 weeks, yeah, right, finalized, so that we can get the signalization audited and at least upgraded by the spring. Is that a good?
I think the timeline, if we can get it back to them, they can kick it back pretty fast, and then we can issue a PO. Well, I guess we need to get the money approved and set up a PO, and we can see the project be done by April.
Yeah. Which we kind of realized in the calls was going to take that long anyways, right? And that's if we get all the equipment in. That was the other thing we talked about, right, all the time?
Yeah, we were told it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks, but
Yeah.
that didn't happen.
Yeah. So it's been a long journey. I think we learned a lot from it. Hopefully going forward, we just plan better and we do this, and we should go after all that grant money. But I think we ran too fast and we stumbled. And we just got to look in the mirror and just say, we can't do that again, because it's a nightmare. So we'll deal with it. So I don't think there's any vote needed here, right? Is there a vote? No. But we don't have the MOU yet. Correct, yeah, so once the MOU, well, I can't endorse something I don't see yet, though. I think we're saying the same thing, hopefully, right? Go ahead, Councilman.
I was saying that we vote to empower the city
Oh, yeah.
to finish with the MOU so that we can move on to the financial paper. We usually,
Yeah, there's no paper to endorse.
it was just a
You
resolve
want to
to
resolve,
show.
that's fine, yep. Yeah, it's nothing, yeah.
It's a non-binding resolve. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I agree, but it was a non-binding resolve. It's related to something that's on the docket. It's definitely within.
It's not voted on, though.
You can make motions related to things.
All right,
that
if you
are
want a
on-
second, Council, you get the second. I'm not binding anything until I see it, so.
I completely agree. It was just a non-binding resolve to let the mayor and the city staff and Yem know that we support them moving forward with the MOU so we can get this done as quickly as possible. That's where I was coming at.
Yeah, there's nothing on the docket, so I mean, I'm not comfortable not voting on the docket, but we have a second, we'll call the vote. So, Council O'Malley's motion, go ahead, Council Crowe.
I don't think we need to vote to empower them to do this. They've been working on this for quite a
I agree. I
while
mean-
already. So they know they're empowered to work through an MOU that takes in all the information. They have been working on that, and we're just tweaking and finalizing. And so I don't think there's a vote that needs to happen. They've been doing that already.
Yep. Okay, Councilor Karen Cullen Hayes.
That's fine. It just seems it would be a good way to show our support that we're going to move through this. So if it doesn't mean anything, then let's just go ahead and take a vote and show our support.
No, I mean, Councilor Hayes, I mean, we've all supported, it's not on the docket, though, that's my concern.
Okay, well, if it can't be done, that's one thing, but if it can, let's just do it and show our support. So you tell me if it's,
Council,
Yeah.
Council, hold on, Council O'Malley.
I don't think it's worth having like
Yeah.
an argument over. But, I mean, basic, like, open meeting law, Robert's rules, like, you can make motions based on things that are on the docket. This is clearly on the docket. We're talking about having a resolve to support an MOU. You don't have to file that. It came up naturally in the conversation. It's non-binding. This is 100% within the open meeting law.
He's here as a guest. There's nothing on here about a paper number.
No, I'm not,
It's
and that's
not
not
a
required
document
to
item.
make motions. I'm making a motion related to something that's on the docket. The docket is to have a non-binding resolve in support of the presentation that was just given, that the city is empowered to sign and execute an MOU. That's clearly within the open meeting law. Yeah, out of anyone, I probably would know
Yeah, I
what the
got you.
best, right?
Yeah, okay, Councilor Winslow.
No, maybe we just, the way we phrase it, I would just say maybe we should just say, it is the sense of the Malden City Council that we ask the mayor to come with a memo of memorandum of understanding with no more than 1 year related to any striping or maintenance commitments, and that as a commitment to publicly evaluate the project a year after the signalization is in place. And that is just the sense of the council, that's kind of the direction. You know, we wanted to have Yem come here to talk about how we're gonna go forward. At least we can give a sense to the mayor of what the council is gonna expect. We're gonna expect an MOU, that it's our sense that that MOU can't commit the city to more than a year of maintenance. It should have public evaluation, and there needs to be a purchase order associated before we commit to going forward. So I think that's just kind of the sense of the council or whatever, that, just to give some direction here. I think that's what I'm hearing, that you know, no one's gonna, you know, we're not gonna get any votes for this if it's gonna be a longer thing. So that would be my recommendation.
All right, so we have two motions, but we have Councilor McDonald. Councilor McDonald?
Well, Councilor Winslow, I mean, what you said is like, well, now I have to think about that, all of those little pieces. And I mean, I just wonder, could we just have the Councilor O'Malley has asked that it be recorded in the minutes that it is the sense of the councilors at the table that we would like you to move forward with the MOU as described and come back to us? Could we just record it in the minutes? Then we don't have to vote on anything and worry about suspending docket rules about the nature of resolves?
Yeah, but the same token is, if we told them not to, if we didn't say anything, they would still go forward.
I agree, but I'm just saying, like, I think we could easily just add in the minutes, like, yeah, please do the MOU thing. That sounds great.
And then we can do all those other things when the MOU comes out,
Right.
right? All right, let's go to Council O'Malley's vote. You need a second? Council Karen Cullen Hayes, you want a second? Do a roll call.
I'm sorry,
What are we
Council
voting on?
O'Malley wants a motion to do his resolve, so we're gonna do a roll call.
Friendly amendment. I'm okay with what Councilor Winslow's suggesting, but to your point, really just, it's the sense of the city council that the administration and Engineer Lip move forward with the MOU. It's just to show that we are supporting this, so it's not feeling like it's just the mayor on the hook here. I thought that this would be well received. I'm surprised that it's not. We've done this in the past, just to show that we're all in here together. That was the intent. I would like to move forward with that.
Can I just have the city solicitor, can we vote on this resolve, John? Can you come up to the? Oh, you're here, let's leverage your.
I agree with City Clerk, Mr. Lucy.
Come on up, we can't hear you in the mic.
Hi there.
Hi.
I agree with the comment made by the City Clerk, Mr. Lucy, that if you don't have a resolve before you, If you don't have a paper before you, you can't vote. I think Councilor McDonald's idea may have been the best.
Okay, any questions for John? Okay, Council O'Malley.
What law are you referring to? What section in law are you referring to?
No, sir.
So it's just a hunch?
No. It's not a hunch. It's based, you were talking about Robert's rules? That's what it's based on.
On a hunch. Okay, thank you.
There you go. Something I didn't say. That's all right.
Thank you. Oh, my God. On Council O'Malley's motion, seconded by Karen Cologne Hayes. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes. Yes. Condon.
No.
Crowe. No. Linehan. Yes. McDonald. No. Murphy. No. O'Malley. Yes. Sika.
No.
Winslow. yes. Spatafora.
Spatafora, no.
Fails 4-6.
Thank you. Next order of business. Thank you, Yem. Appreciate it. What do you say? He goes, we really do support you.
We get approval of minutes, paper 497-22, minutes for meeting of November 29th, 2022, and paper 498-22, minutes of the meeting of December 6th, 2022.
Okay, I didn't see any edits or suggestions in email, so I'm looking for approval. Motion, Council Conan, second by Councilor Sika for the approval of minutes for the meeting of November 29, 2022, and the minutes for the meeting of December 6th, 2022. All in favor? All opposed? Minutes are approved. Next order of business. Sorry.
Paper 499-22, mayoral reappointment, Building Commissioner Nelson L. Miller of 235 Beach Avenue, Melrose, as Director of Inspectional Services, said term to commence upon the confirmation by the City Council and to expire on December 19, 2025.
Hey, Council McDonald, are you Vice Chair of Personnel? Oh, Council Linehan? Council Linehan, not to put you in the spot, but Council Assembly's not here to make a motion.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. I just, this is to reappoint.
Oh, yes, I'm comfortable doing it on the floor unless others disagree.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, so that was the note I had. If this is for the appointment of the building inspector, who's our current building inspector, Mr. Nelson Miller. Usually, we have been taking, I don't want to use the word prominent, but currently employed in that role on the floor, but I will yield to the committee if you want to refer it or vote on the floor.
Move.
Okay, so in Councilor Linehan's motion to reappoint Nelson Miller for the building commissioner at 235 Beach Ave, Melrose.
Second.
Let me just read it. For this, commencement upon the confirmation by City Council to expire on December 19, 2025, seconded by Councilor Condon. Clerk will call the roll, right? Is all in favor? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nelson Miller is reappointed, 10-0.
The next,
There was no public comment. Was it, did you sign up late, ma'am? I'm sorry. Yeah, ma'am, do you ask for public comment? Yes, I do. Okay, I'm sorry, we pulled the sheet earlier, so hold on 1 second. Did you sign up? Did you sign up? Okay, that's fine. We took the sheet early because nobody was here for public comment. But we certainly don't want to waste your time. You want to have a signage, just for the record?
Bring it over. I can do it.
We just want it for the record that you spoke in public, even though we're televising it.
Just to keep you going, I don't want to, okay.
No, go ahead. We're gonna go back to public comment. Yep, 2 minutes. Sorry about that, ma'am.
Oh, that's all right.
I asked the clerk earlier if there was public comment. We took the sheet, so I didn't know. So we're ready? Just state your name and address for the record, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, I'm Tara Fredericks from Acton, and I'm here because of the marijuana licensing, and...
What was your name again?
Tara,
Okay.
and
Where you from?
Acton.
Acton, Mass?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
a shareholder in an applicant that's applying for a license, a cannabis shop.
Okay.
And I'm here because I'm a small business owner, and because I'm related and closely associated with a lot of people who have suffered because of the war on drugs. And I worked for hundreds of hours to pass the law to allow cannabis to be legally sold and produced in Massachusetts, advocating for social equity. We got that law passed, and then we spent more hundreds of hours making sure that the social equity language actually was stated in a way that allows people that don't have tens of hundreds of millions of dollars to participate. Small businesses that can only afford a small shop. So we got that language passed to ensure that towns don't zone out small businesses. I come from a town that, and as a housing activist and an ex-elected official, I know a lot about how towns zone out certain classes of people. So I thank you for anything you can do to fix the rules to allow small businesses, such as these startups, to bring money into Malden. And I urge the council to move on 138-22 in the interest of promoting fair and transparent marijuana process, free from political influence and the potential for state ethics violations, et cetera. It's in the agenda. And I urge one of you to make the motion and another person to second it, another counselor to second it, so that our work to ensure social equity permits can be let in Acton, in Malden. Sorry. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Listening.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And it was, no disrespect to you, it's actually my bad because that actually isn't on the agenda yet. It's still tabled. Just so, you know, to keep with the rules, I didn't want to stop her midway through. It was still tabled, still on the table though, so. Yeah, probably. So I just, you know, I didn't want to stop her midstream and she did drive from Acton, so. Okay, next order of business.
We have,
Can I have a process question just to ask, because I don't know what just happened? Did you?
So public comments usually related, ma'am, to things on the docket. It is actually not really on the docket, it's tabled. So we would have to take it off the table to make it part of the docket.
Okay, so one of.
So you spoke, so it's a moot point at this point.
Okay, but the other counselor could vote to take it off, and then they could vote. and
Yes.
decide to- Thank you.
Yep, okay. Next order of business.
we have several licenses that the license chair seeker set to read them all at once. Paper 500-22 petition, open air
It's Council
park.
Birnbaum, she was married now, so gotta keep her honest. Gotta keep her honest, that's illegal.
Seeker's easier to remember. A petition.
Oh, wait,
open-
wait, Council McDonald, you go ahead, you got a light, I don't want to start with debate.
I just wanted to go back and make sure that we did record in the notes that per Councilor O'Malley's suggestion, we do support the city going ahead with the MOU. Because right now, I just don't want the notes to read that we didn't pass a resolve and thus imply that we don't support the forward motion. So I do want to make sure that
It would
just
be in
gets
the
recorded
minutes though
note.
anyways, right, because the council's debate, right?
Yeah, that in the
So-
minutes, it is reflected that this group of councilors
Yep.
supports that.
Yep,
Yeah, just so you know, I go back and listen to the MATV YouTube, so all
So you're
the-
listening, so this is me talking to future Clerk Lucy to just remind you
Yes.
that, okay,
You
great.
got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
yeah. And then we'll make sure that the Councilor Crow's, she made a comment earlier to make sure the mayor's memo was attached to the minutes as well. So we made sure, because that came in after the agenda, so we'll make sure that happens as well. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, Clerk Lucy, didn't mean to interrupt you, go ahead with the licenses.
Paper 500-22 petition, open air parking lot license for Robert McNulty of 28 Cedar Street, renewal 14 parking spaces. Paper 501-22 petition, open air parking lot license for TJ Corp., 315 Pleasant Street, renewal 15 spaces. Paper 502-22 petition, extended hours license for MRM Donuts Corp., DBA Dunkin's at 617 Broadway, 7 days, 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. Paper 503-22 petition, Class 2 license for Top Cars Motor Group of 259 Main Street, renewal for 35 cars. Paper 504-22 petition, Class 2 license for Seekers Automotive, Inc. of 1114 Eastern Avenue, renewal 2 cars. Paper 505-22 petition, Class 2 license for McMillan Automotive of 388 Eastern Ave, renewal 15 cars. Paper 506-22 petition, Class 2 license for Regano's Inc. of 1081 Fells Way, renewal 20 cars. Paper 507-22, petition Class 2 license for Reganos, Inc. of 1152 Eastern Ave, renewal 15 cars. Paper 508-22, petition Class 2 license for Champa Auto Body, Inc. of 322 Eastern Ave, renewal 4 cars. Paper 509-22, petition Class 2 license for Malden Middlesex Motor Sales, Inc. of 129 Charles Street, renewal 15 cars. Paper 510-22, petition Class 2 license for Malden Middlesex Motor Sales, Inc. of 129 Charles Street, renewal. And paper 511-22, petition Class 3 license, Class 2 license, my contacts are.
The last one is Class 3.
Class 3 license for Malden Broadway Auto Body, 590 Broadway.
Okay, any questions?
To renewal.
Motion to refer to license.
Okay, on Council Seeker's motion to refer the petitions to license, all in favor? Seconded by Council Winslow, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, 10-0, referred to license. Next order of business.
Paper 512-22, order the sum of $22,500 is appropriated from available general fund free cash and transferred to Board of Health Recovery Coaches, account number 0010-510-5103.
Council Murphy, just want to refer this? Okay. Council Murphy's motion to refer, seconded by Council Condon, to refer the paper to finance, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Paper 513-
Ayes have it, sorry.
513-22, order the sum of $1,200,000 is appropriated from available water sewer enterprise fund retained earnings and transferred to water sewer capital account number 6010-450-5860.
On Council Murphy's motion to refer the finance paper to finance, seconded by Council Condon, all in favor? All opposed? Bless you again. Papers referred to finance. Next order of business.
Paper 514-22, order the sum of $63,000 for contracts. $63,044.33 be transferred from salary reserve, account number 0010-996-5110 to the following accounts.
So papers 514 and 515 will go hand in hand. It's updating our ordinances as well as for the new department head schedule. So a joint meeting for finance and ordinance are required. So for paper 514, which is the one we're doing now, and then 515, which is the next one, for the general public is, in order for, when raises are enacted for the city, we have to match the ordinances, which sets the pay grades. So we usually have a joint meeting to discuss to make sure that the ordinance is there and the finance committee is all set with those raises. And then we change the ordinance at a subsequent date, and they get their salary increases. So chicken and the egg, but we do have to refer them both to ordinance and finance in order to get those processed. So when we get the motion, it's going to be a motion to refer to both finance and ordinance for the next paper. Any questions? Okay. So on Council Murphy's motion to refer paper 514-22, seconded by Council Condon, to a joint meeting of finance and ordinance, all in favor? All opposed? Referred to finance and ordinance. Next order of business.
Paper 515-22, be it hereby ordained by the Malden City Council that the Code of the City of Malden, MCC, be amended by adding Title II, Chapter 24, Section 0.015, Department Head Salary Schedule, and striking in 2.20.030B, Superintendent of Cemeteries, 2.20.30C, Director, Board of Health, Director of Engineering, Director of Information Technology, Director of Public Facilities, Assessor, Director of Assessing, City Clerk, Treasury Collector, Building Commissioner, Director of Strategic Planning and Community Development, and 2.20.030D, Chief of Strategy and Innovation Officer, be it further amended by striking in 2.20.040C, Senior Center Coordinator, Veteran Service Commissioner, Teen Program Coordinator, and 2.20.040D, Recreational Director.
You get the other side too, it keeps going, right? No. Do you have it on one page? Okay, I have it on 2 pages. See? Okay, on Council, everybody get that? Okay, so on Council Crow's motion, seconded by Council Karen Colon Hayes, to refer the paper to a joint meeting of finance and ordinance. All in favor? All opposed? Papers referred to ordinance and finance. Next order of business.
Paper 516-22, be it hereby ordained by the Malden City Council that the Code of the City of Malden, MCC 12.12.300 G3, inclusionary zoning is hereby amended by striking and including the the following language regarding fractional units.
On Councilor Crow's, you want to speak on it, Council? Okay, sorry, Councilor Crowe for the paper.
I just want to give you just a little background, and we do want to refer this actually to a planning and ordinance committee, because if we don't do it now, when we take the break, we will miss sort of the time, and we'll have to start it all over, and we have the city planner, but to kind of fill in any things that I've missed. So as we have more projects that are going to be under the inclusionary zoning, we sort of recognize that there's a piece of a flaw with fractions of units, so that they have to pay the $300,000.
Which is the full value. Right? The 300,000 is the full value,
Yeah,
right?
well, Michelle, you meant the.
Yeah, so the plan is here, so maybe.
So right now, when we have,
Oh, I was just gonna say, they round down and pay the difference now, right? And they could round up and add another unit. I'm sorry, I should direct that to Michelle.
yeah, so if they, but it doesn't matter if they still have a fractional, even if they say they're required to do whatever number and they go above it, they still have to pay the money. So it kind of seems to be like, if you want to encourage them to go up and not have to pay the money, but even if they stay where they are, if it's a fractional unit, they still have to pay into the Affordable Trust Fund, but. So I don't know if Michelle wanted to explain that a little better.
Because I'm lost now. Any clarification, Michelle?
Hi, good evening, Michelle Romero, City Planner. So the gist of it is, when we determine under the current ordinance the required number of affordable housing units for a project, when that number, so it's 15% of the total, when that number results in a fraction, so for example, it's 3.6 units are required, the 3 units are the required, so it's the whole number of units.
Yeah.
But the fractional is required to be paid based on the current in lieu fee, which most recently was $300,000 last year, but it's already gone up. So what this will do, and that's a requirement, so the 3 units are required, and then the 0.6, for example, in that example, would need to be paid into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. There's no option to build an additional unit instead of paying into the fund for the
Which is what you
fraction.
want. You want them to build the
We do
unit.
want to try to
Yeah.
encourage the creation of units, so the point of this paper would give the developers the option. When it's a fractional unit, you can either pay, based on the in lieu fee, pay into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, or you can build the additional unit. So you would round up. So you could either build the 3 units and pay the 0.6 times the in lieu fee, that percentage, or you could just build 4 units.
Yep, that makes sense.
So it's giving them an option. Right now, there's only one option, which is to pay for that fractional unit. So,
I thought that was pretty clear when I said it.
yeah.
It'll make sense now. Councilor Linehan, you had your mic on, but I think you got the question across, or you have any other questions?
I did have one other question.
Go ahead.
But if it's not appropriate, if we should just wait until we're in committee, or are we going straight to having a hearing on it?
I think we should go straight to have a hearing on it.
Okay.
Otherwise, we will lose that, because we have a little break, we will kind of lose the time.
May I just ask one clarifying piece, and I'm fully in agreement, it sounds like we need to do this, we obviously would rather have the unit if we can. This isn't gonna put us into shady territory with the MBTA communities thing, where we're on that 15%.
No, not to my knowledge, that the MBTA community zoning provision that you're talking about is still yet to be determined whether we're going to move forward in that direction. This is compliance with the new Section 3A, which actually caps it at 10% under that new zoning. Under the new law, if we move forward in that direction, we can only require 10% affordable. But then there's a guideline that says we can go up to 15% if we have a feasibility study that documents that it's appropriate. So if we move in that direction, I do not believe that, I don't believe that will be an issue. We can certainly ask that as we're
Okay.
moving forward. I think whereas that is still very uncertain whether we're even moving in that direction, whereas this is a certainty, one of the councils mentioned, there are projects coming into the pipeline that we would want this to affect or give these developers the option. I think this is more important, and if we need to, we could always, as I said, we can discuss what the guidelines with the DHCD, and if we needed to, we could come back to amend this. Keep in mind, this this is, if we move it, the other point I want to say, if we move in that direction for the MBTA community zoning, that has to be a different zoning ordinance. So this ordinance would still apply to all the other developments that aren't part of that MBTA zoning. So this is important to do because this is a citywide ordinance. That MBTA zoning, if we go in that direction, will only apply in certain districts.
Understood.
So
Thank you. I
think
really
that's the other
appreciate it.
reason I would definitely encourage you. The timing, if I'll just quickly add, you have 14 days to refer this to public hearing. So you could certainly take this into committee, but you'd need to do it next week and then send it back out and refer it next week because the 14-day will expire when you're on recess. So that's the timing of it.
Any other questions for Michelle? I do have a couple of lights on, but I have Council Winslow and Council McDonald. But Council Crowe, do you have a?
I just want a point of information, Council Linehan, actually, I think not next week, but the week after, I think Evan Spatrini is going to be coming down to talk about that, the MBTA community zoning. We had a meeting with him, so they look, it's lots of moving parts to it. So again, one of the things, I want to have him come down to sort of explain what the process is and how we're going to move forward.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. So we had a call the other, and Council Crowe was very adamant about public participation, and so we figured let's start it now and then go forward with it for the remainder of the year. So Council Winslow, thank you for waiting. You have the floor.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear. So right now, like if it's the fraction is 3.1, it would be 0.1 times the in lieu fee. With this amendment, even if it's 0.1, they could go up to 4. So that.
Yes, they
So
could.
it's just any fraction above.
Any fraction will give them the option
okay.
to either
Thank you.
pay or go up.
Yeah,
Or
so
to the round up, right?
Okay, great, thanks.
Councilor McDonald, did you take your light off?
I was gonna say something about MBTA communities, I'll save it till next week.
Okay. I just have one clarifying question. To Council Winslow's point, and I should know this, the 0.1, is it prorated to the 300,000, or is it you hit that 0.1, you pay the full amount?
It's prorated, so it will be 0.1 times the current fee.
Yeah,
in
which I
lieu.
thought. So what happens is
Right.
the closer they go over 5, then it becomes worth them building it, where if it's 0.1, they might just say, we'll pay it, right? But it gives them the option, you know.
It gives them the option, and I'll say honestly, we've only had one project actually filed under the inclusionary development ordinance, inclusionary zoning ordinance, and they opted to pay in lieu. It didn't matter what the percentage was, they wanted to do the pay in lieu part.
So they didn't want the unit.
They did not want the unit. But the other projects that are in the pipeline right now, we're actually want to do more affordable housing units. They want to give us more affordable housing units, but a couple, I should say, have been questioning, I build the units and I'm still going to end up having to pay. They're not getting any, I don't want to say credit for building the
There's no
additional
reward,
units.
there's no return on their investment.
Or for a real different example is a project that's coming into the pipeline that's 100% affordable. They still have to, not only are they gonna do 100% affordable, they still would have to pay the fractional fee into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is interesting.
No,
When you
it's
think about it, so.
Yep.
It's gonna give another
It's
option.
coming back from our meetings, Michelle, because I remember one of the examples, some cities make it so high, so they basically they want the money for themselves.
Right.
But this is
and-
giving them optionality,
yes,
which is
This
nice.
will give them
Yeah.
the option, and it does encourage the creation of affordable housing.
Yeah, I'd rather have them deal with the money than the city, because they usually get bigger bang for their buck. All right, on council, any other question? Go ahead, council. Okay, on council, so we're gonna go right to planning, right? Okay. No ordinance, right?
Yeah, this will be, if you send this, refer to planning board, we will schedule the hearing, a joint hearing with ordinance committee. It could be as soon as January.
Yeah, so we're gonna send it directly to joint planning and ordinance
Yes.
to have the meeting scheduled, correct?
I would
just wanna make sure
recommend that,
yep, okay.
yes.
So on Councilor Crow's motion to send this to joint planning and ordinance, seconded by, Councilor McDonald, you raised your hand a second, or you? Second. Okay, because I haven't let you talk yet. So on Councilor Crow's motion to send this to joint planning and ordinance, seconded by Councilor Karen McDonald, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Items referred. Next order of business.
Paper 403-22, be it hereby ordained by the Malden City Council of the Code of the City of Malden, MCC 7.20.010A12 is hereby amended by striking from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 a.m. through 8 p.m. on Sunday, replaced with the same hours as Trafton Park unless the Stadium and Athletic Commission establishes different hours.
Okay, on Counselor Winslow's motion to ordain, seconded by Counselor Crowe. Was that a roll call? Yeah. It's a roll call. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes. Condon.
Yes.
Crowe. Linehan. McDonald.
Even he's went to the loo.
And Murphy. O'Malley. Sika. Winslow. Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Motion carries. Motion is ordained. Next order of business.
Committee reports. Committee report 517-22, committee report license petitions papers 469 through 484 of 2022. The Standing Committee on License to whom referred the following papers, having considered the same, make the following report that these papers be reported out favorably to the City Council.
On Council Seeker's motion to receive the committee report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Councilor Seeker for the committee. Oh, sorry, Councilor. I'm just looking at all these licenses, gotta read.
Thank you, Council President. Last week, the License Committee met to discuss these petitions. We met with compliance. All of them are renewals, and they had no outstanding issues or any problems. So the committee voted to recommend all these petitions out favorably. Motion to approve the
Okay,
petitions.
on Councilor Seeker's motion to grant the petitions, seconded by Councilor Winslow. All in favor?
Aye.
All, heard you, Councilor. All opposed? Ayes have it. Next order of business. Docket is clear. Anybody else? Personal privilege, we're on TV next
Can we do a
week.
moment of silence again?
Yeah,
I'm
we can
sorry.
do, absolutely. Councilor Seeker for a moment of silence.
I apologize, I forgot. Since
then
Councilor Simonelli is not here, one of his residents suddenly passed away last week, Linda Ventola Jordan.
That's right.
She was a longtime resident of Ward 7. She was very active in the Malden political scene, and I just wanted to take a brief moment of silence to know, that she'll be sorely missed throughout the community.
All rise for a moment of silence for Linda Ventura. Thank you. Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, I actually, there's also
Oh.
Lauren Walsh of Ward 6.
Sorry.
Passed away, resident of 630 Salem Street, very pleasant lady.
What was her name again, Council? Lauren Walsh.
Lorraine.
Lorraine Walsh. On Councilor Winslow's motion to a moment of silence for Lorraine Walsh. Clerk will stand. Council will stand, excuse me.
Was that funny? Yes. I never knew her name was Lorraine.
Yeah, let me turn your mic on, Council, 1 second. There you go.
Yeah, I wanted to thank, we had a funky little storm, and I want to thank Bob Knox and the DPW for getting out there and getting out a little extra salt and stuff for sand for streets that were iced in, so thank you for that. Wishing everybody happy holidays coming up with Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa. Just a note for everybody, the Maplewood menorah lighting has been moved from next Monday, the 19th, to Wednesday, the 21st, because the wake for Lieutenant Tom Roberts, the Malden Fire Department, is going to be at St. Joseph's Church at 6 o'clock on the 19th. So we thought it would be best to move the menorah lighting so that, the family and friends and fellow firefighters can, will be in Maplewood Square, and we wanted to.
Do you have a time on that, Council, for the 21st? Is there a
It's
time?
at 6 p.m., yeah,
Okay.
and it'll be at 29 Lebanon, right, sort of near Sunnyhurst Farm, so, so that's the Maplewood, and, the city one is, 5 o'clock on Sunday, so yeah, those are the couple things, so everybody have a great holidays, thank you, great.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Barbara Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, as it will start before we reconvene next Tuesday. And also say that Santa Claus is coming to town. He will be here for his 73rd visit. This is an unbroken visit that Santa has made each year to his office in Malden, which is located at Pine Banks Park. He will be here Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. I'm sorry, 2 to 6 p.m. There will be hot chocolate and cookies, and we have a new activity. We actually are going to have an arts and crafts table from 2 to 4 p.m. So we would invite all of Malden and Melrose to come down and enjoy the festivities. Once again, that's Saturday, December 17th from 2 to 6 p.m. at Pine Banks Park. Not only will Santa be there, Mrs. Claus will be there, as well as the elves and Olaf, Rudolph, Frosty, and Elmo. So.
Did you mention the craft fair at Forestdale Friday night?
No, I did not.
Maybe you should.
Okay, and there's a craft fair at Forestdale Friday night,
5:30 to 8.
5:30 to 8. Thank you, Counselor.
Well, it'll be
Seeger.
good for the vendors that are going out.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry. Thank you, yes, so thank you.
Councilor Karen Colon.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone, I had the pleasure of working on a little bit of a subcommittee here for the Together We Bring Light. It's the Malden menorah lighting. It will be Sunday, December 18th, 5 to 6:30 at Malden City Plaza. And there'll be some arts and crafts and holiday treats, dreidel games, goodie bags, and a photo backdrop. So hope to see you there. And that's about it.
Is that the, Councilor, that's Sunday, right? This Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, at City Hall Plaza, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was looking for the date, but I'm glad you got it. Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Councilor Karen McDonald.
I will see you there, Councilor Cologne Hayes, at the menorah lighting. Two things I wanted to note. There is a community celebration for the signing into law of Malden's ballot transliteration bill. It's Thursday, December 15th, 10:30 a.m. at First Parish Church. I really played no role as a counselor in this because it was before I was here, but I think it's great and I support it and I will try to go. We are hoping, I want to make it another preliminary announcement, which is that in our intercultural committee, we talked about the value of having some language-based town hall meetings, and we're very close to finalizing a date with our community partners for our first language-based town hall, which is likely to be Chinese, and probably in early February. So that's working with our language access coordinator will be an opportunity to give just a basic overview of City Hall, welcome people here, you know, probably in Mandarin and in Cantonese, and help people learn how they can access city services and the language access services that we have been building up in the last year or so. So we hope this to be kind of a series of ways to reach out to some of the parts of our community that we don't, that may not be watching all of our meetings and following us on Facebook, but nonetheless are really valued parts of our community. So we're hoping to finalize that and be able to make an announcement on Thursday at that celebration, but wanted to let folks know that that's something that's been moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Linehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to do one more final thank you and plug for the Mary Malden Toy Drive. We're done taking requests formally, but we do have some members of the community reaching out still for help. So as we get ready to wrap those and deliver those, I wanted to just let folks know if they are still looking to sponsor a child or donate to the drive, there's still ways to do that. If you visit zontomalden.com, that's a great way to make a monetary donation. If you're interested in helping us to make those deliveries, I know so many of my colleagues up here are going to be doing that over the next week. Just reach out to me. We always need many extra hands to sort through the donations and make those deliveries. As I've said many times, it's completely anonymous, so everyone's privacy is fully respected, but it is a great way to give back. So far, we've brought in over $7,000, and we're matching more than 200 lists. So definitely on track to do even more than we did last year. It's, you don't like to see the need growing in the community, but being able to respond to it is a good thing. So again, that's zontomalden.com if anybody wants to contribute, or just find me and I can find ways to plug you in. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other lights? Councilor Condon, how come you're not on? Councilor Condon, there you are. Councilor Condon.
Thank you, Mr. President. My understanding, we're not on TV next week, so I'd like to take this up.
Oh, we are next week. I lied.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, it's a regular council meeting.
Our president lied.
So speak.
But I want to wish all the residents of Malden happy holidays, and please stay safe. Thank you.
Oh, that's right, it was committee last week. That was a quick meeting last week, that's right. Sorry, council, I thought last week was a full meeting. So, I want to also spread it, yeah, oh, Councilor Seek, I'm sorry. I didn't see the light, go ahead.
I know, I apologize.
Councilor Birnbaum, I'm sorry.
I just want to thank Jack Teal from the Malden Moose. This past weekend on Saturday, he hosted a bocce tournament that had 16 teams of 4. Everyone had to bring a gift, and they also had to bring $25 fee to get in, so each team was $100. So we got, for our annual toy drive with the Malden Police and the Malden Fire, they were able to donate over $3,000 worth of toys to our drive, which was amazing. I went there this morning with Renee Kelly from the police department to pick the toys up, and we filled a school bus full with the toys that they were able to get donated for the from the bocce tournament. So I just wanted to say thank you again to Jack Teal. And our toy drive is still up and running as well. Delivery for us is this Sunday. If anybody does need any last minute, help, we'll be more than happy to help. We have the community room at the police station filled with toys. Our list too is also a little bit bigger than it has been in the past, and rightfully so. So if anybody wants to donate last minute, you can go to the Malden Police Facebook page, Councilor Spatafora's Facebook page, or my ward councilor Facebook page. There's a link to purchase tickets through toys through an Amazon wish list. I do know we are still in need of some older children. We always never have enough for the older kids. So if anybody wants to go out and grab something for, the older teens and wants to drop it off at the police station or any fire station, then they're more than welcome to do so up until Sunday. Thank you.
And gift cards too, right? They take gift cards.
What is it?
They take gift cards for the older kids too.
Yeah, they take gift cards too.
Another one? You're drunk with power tonight, Council Condon. Council Condon.
Thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Jack Teal, too, because we had our Winter Classic bocce tournament down the Italian-American Citizens Club, and I could not believe how many gifts. The whole back of the club is filled up with bikes and toys, and Jack does this every year. He's been doing it for years for us, and thank you for reminding me that we owe him a great deal of thanks. Thank you, Jack Teal.
I just want to give you a minute to reflect in case you want to hit it again. Okay. And, thank you, Council Condon. Like everybody else, the spirit of, the holidays and giving, and certainly, thinking of things that we often take for granted. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. I know I get to say it next week, too. But I do want to say, I want to recognize Councilor Murphy, who actually had a fundraiser yesterday for Malden Teen Enrichment Center, also known as MTech. It was their 10-year anniversary, which is hard to believe. The reason why I want to thank her, first of all, it was it was a different type of event you threw there, right? And it was, full disclosure, it was in Anthony's, but you threw it with nothing to do with me. But I like the way that you had the fundraising. You get to, if anybody, I'm assuming everybody gets something in the mail, you could choose who to sponsor in certain activities. I thought it was a great idea. Certainly a little bit easier to see where your money goes when you say, I want to sponsor somebody to go to tickets. I want to send somebody on an outdoor trip. So fantastic job. I was honestly genuinely impressed just the way you were able to just, instead of just write me a check and you don't know where it goes. So kudos to that. Kudos to the organization. They had some great speakers there who clearly value going to a place after school. Some kids you could tell clearly didn't have options, and there was their second home, and other kids had options that just didn't want to go home, right? So it was great to see that. Hopefully it was a success financially for you guys, but great work there, and look forward to supporting all the great things that are happening in the next couple of weeks with the holiday season going. So I want to say you did a great job. I guess, yes, Councilor Murphy.
Sorry, because I can't sit up here and take credit for last evening and have it seem like it was just me, because it truly was a team effort. It was the entire board of MTech, who actually everyone had a partner, everyone pulled their weight. And I have to say that what you're talking about when you walk down the back of the room on either side, and you could see the displays for camping or snowshoeing or team building, whatever station you were at, it was manned by our teams, and they talked to the folks who went up and donated, and they were amazing. And a lot of the ideas of how that was going to be structured and what they were going to show at the tables all came from the teens. They were just amazing, as well as Kathy Mack and her staff. It really was truly a team effort. I will take credit for the food with the little kudos to you, but no, it was a great night. And one of the wonderful things there were like 6 kids who really started the teen center, along with our clerk, Mr. Lucy, and his wife, Marie Lucy, who I don't think MTech would be in existence if it wasn't for you and your wife and all you did in the beginning of those 10 years. But Annie and Jay were 2 of the original founding teens, and they were both there. Jay now works for us, and Annie looks like a runway model. I'm telling you, I had to get a look at her last night. She was just absolutely amazing. All right, that's all right, that's all right. I told her about 8 times last night she looked like a runway model. She did. She's just so lovely. Just a lovely, lovely young lady who's gone so far in life. And it's a pleasure to work with these children. They are such a representation of our community and, you know, the future, our future. It's an enjoyment to be on this board, and it was a great night. So. Thank you.
One other thing, I'd be remiss to say, so I think everybody knows the warming center has been open. I volunteer there weekly. They are in dire need. This is my request. They need bottled water. I was there Friday, and I don't think they realized it. It's kind of a staple, but they had no water. They had water, but they had no backup water and restock. So they were down. So if anybody knows anybody, or they want to drop a case off, I'm sure they'll take it. But it was a little bit. I'll have it delivered, but I just, something like that, it's not expensive, it's easy to get and readily available, so I think they'll obviously take any donations, but I was amazed they were out of water, so if you got time or you want to one click and send them some water, it'd be great. I'm sure they appreciate it, so. With that being said, on Council Conan's motion to adjourn, seconded by Councilor Linehan, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for the Thin Mints.